Right now, the state of civil rights in America is being seen today through the sport of baseball. We'll see how one of the game's giants continues to impact the fight for equality in our nation. Also, advances in voice cloning apps are making it easy for criminals to steal your voice and then turn around and rip off the ones you love. And we'll hear how some of the area's first responders recently answered the call to help rescue victims from flooding in Kentucky. This is The Take. Let's get it. Hello and welcome, folks. I'm Chesley McNeil. This is The Take, where we go above and beyond the headlines and we look at the why and how stories are impacting you and your community. Experts are invited in to give their take on today's top stories, and we also try to have a little fun as well. This is the day Major League Baseball stops to honor one of its greats, Jackie Robinson. It was on this day, back in 1947, that the native from Cairo, Georgia, played his first game with the Brooklyn Dodgers and broke the big league's color barrier. In 2004, Major League Baseball formally established April 15th as Jackie Robinson Day, meaning on this day, you'll see every player on the field wearing the number 42 on their jerseys. Jackie Robinson wasn't just a trailblazer on the baseball diamond. He was also a pivotal member of the civil rights movement, using his position to fight for equality and opportunity for all Americans. Here now joining us is Gerald Griggs. He's the president of the Georgia NAACP. Gerald, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Chesley. Thank you for having me.
Hey, do you think people really realize how big he was in civil rights more so than baseball?
No, I don't think so. I think that people need to understand that from an early age, Jackie Robinson was conscious of what was happening in America and wanted to make a difference. That's why, while he was a member of the United States Army, he refused to take the back of the bus in a segregated bus, and that kind of launched his activism all the way through the rest of his life.
So he was big in it. Now, while he played baseball, was he still as big in it? Was he always a giant in civil rights?
He was always a giant in civil rights, and that's one of the reasons why Branch Rickey chose him as the person to break the racial barrier in Major League Baseball. He was a perfect person at that time for that particular role.
When people see other players wearing 42, what do you think they should take away from that?
They should take away that this is bigger than the game. This is about the social climate in this country, the same as it was back in Jackie's time, and they should use their platform for good. He was always a pivotal member of the inner cabinet of Dr. King's movement. He was also pivotal in financial literacy later on in life as he helped to establish a Black-owned bank. So Jackie Robinson was the consummate activist as well as athlete.
You talked about Dr. Martin Luther King. The two had a very strong relationship. Talk about that relationship for me.
I mean, from very early on, I mean, of course, when Jackie did what he did to desegregate Major League Baseball, he became a seminal figure. And he always used that particular voice to assist the civil rights movement, whether it's financial aid, whether that was providing his voice at different rallies or different protests, or ultimately being one of the counselors for a strategic movement to break the racial barrier in the entire civil rights movement. So he was a pivotal member, a very close confidant of Dr. King.
You know, Jackie Robinson was huge, and there was other sports figures like that back in his day. Why do you think sports figures were so much into this?
I think that they were more connected to the community. We're talking about Jim Brown, we're talking about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and so many others, Muhammad Ali. They were integrally interconnected in the community and felt the community as they were living the segregated life as well. So they had that experience that brought them in direct contact with the community, and they wanted to make the world a better place for their community and the nation in general.
Do you think that civil rights leaders like Dr. Martin Luther King really leaned on these guys because they could spread their message maybe a little bit broader?
I think so, because they had a platform upon which they could speak to the world. I mean, when you have an athlete of the stature of Jackie Roosevelt Robinson, you are literally talking to the entire world. And so I think that's why, one of the reasons why Dr. King was a confidant of his. But he also was a highly educated individual, of course, with his graduation and matriculation through the University of California at Los Angeles. So, I mean, he was a very thoughtful individual who used his athletic gifts to broaden the perspective of the social climate of his day.
You talked about it being Jackie, and Jackie was a natural pick. How much pressure, can you put in perspective the pressure that Jackie was under to do this?
I mean, immense pressure. You have to understand that his first foray into the Deep South was when he was in Sanford, Florida, playing there when he was coming up through the minor leagues, and he faced racism on a daily basis. And then once he got to Brooklyn and went around the country, I mean, every single day there were black cats placed on the field. He was called everything but a child of God. And so because of that intestinal fortitude that he had inside of him, and because he was doing this to push forward a social cause, Jackie had to show the intestinal fortitude that many of his day did not have. And I think that later on in his life, you got to see a full, broader picture of the struggles that he went through. And of course, that's detailed in his autobiography.
Yeah. Jackie passed away in 1972. If he was still with us today, how do you think he see the state of civil rights here in 2025?
He would see a state of civil rights in flux. He would call upon people of good conscience to come together like they did in the 40s, 50s, and the 60s. And he would be disheartened at the turn that the United States is trying to make to erase Black history, including his own military record. And so I think that he would be just as resolved today as he was then to call people in to this movement from all races, all creeds, to make sure that they understand that what happens to one group of people ultimately affects all people. And so, like Dr. King said, we are tied in a garment of mutuality. And what happens to me happens to you. And I think Jackie would underscore that if he was here today.
Gerald Griggs, president of the Georgia NAACP, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Governor Brian Kemp is going to be signing 2 highly anticipated tax bills into law today. One cuts the tax income rate. The other one gives a $250 to $500 tax rebate as a one-time rebate back to taxpayers. U.S. Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene is hosting a town hall in Cobb County tonight. It's open only to District 14 residents. They'll be checking IDs at the door. Many of these town halls have been incredibly intense recently as constituents press their elected officials about incidents happening in Washington and the mass federal firing spearheaded by DOJ. Greene is a chairwoman of a DOJ subcommittee. Hartsfield-Jackson is kicking off its centennial celebrations today. The airport is honoring its past, present, and future. A pep rally will be held in the domestic atrium starting at 11 a.m. And right now, here on 11Alive Plus, you can watch a look back into 100 years of Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. All right, our forecast for today calls for cooler conditions. Yesterday, we saw those temperatures rise into the 80s, right around 84 degrees for an afternoon high. Today, only around 70. We got some clouds out there right now. Those clouds will dissipate as we head into the afternoon. We'll be looking at sunny skies for the rest of the day. Mostly sunny again on Wednesday. Another cool day on tap as temperatures will be around 70 degrees. Now 70 is comfortable. Keep in mind this time of year we should be around 73, so we'll be close enough to it. But warming up as we head toward Easter weekend. In fact, Good Friday we'll be back into the 80s, 83 degrees for the high, 86 on Saturday. Easter Sunday we're looking at 87 for the afternoon high temperature and staying in the 80s as we start the work week next week. All right, we'll be back right after this. Stay right there. All right, welcome back to the show, folks. As the nation trade war ramps up, there's another battle brewing, this one over immigration policy and mass deportation. Joining us now is NBC Washington correspondent Alice Barr, who's been covering politics for years now. Alice, the situation with Kilmar Garcia is being described as an administrative error, but now there seems to be a shift in the messaging. Break that down for us.
Yeah, so this is Kilmar Abrego Garcia. He was living in Maryland, had a work permit, married with 3 children, and was swept up in the mass deportations and was sent to this mega prison in El Salvador. But the Trump administration, the Justice Department, admits that he was mistakenly deported through what was an administrative error. Now, that has been the line from the administration, but just recently we're hearing that kind of changed a little bit, with the White House now arguing he was not mistakenly deported. We heard from Stephen Miller, White House Deputy Chief of Staff, that he's an illegal alien from El Salvador, that's quoting his words, and he was sent back to El Salvador, saying that that's where he belongs. The Trump administration says that Abrego Garcia is a member of MS-13, which is a violent gang that the White House has designated as a foreign terrorist organization, but his family denies that, and it's important to note he has never been charged criminally in the U.S. or El Salvador. We have not seen whatever evidence the Trump administration may be relying on to make the claim that he is a member of MS-13. So that's where that stands right now.
Gotcha. Alice, all this taking place as the president met with El Salvador's president in the White House yesterday. What came out of that conversation?
Yeah, so this was interesting because the Trump administration has been saying that it cannot bring Abrego Garcia back from El Salvador because he's in El Salvador and that it's up to them to decide what to do. The Supreme Court, though, ruled that the Trump administration must facilitate his release. That word facilitate is kind of being drilled down on very closely. What we heard yesterday from the president of El Salvador is he said, I can't send him back to the U.S. He said that that was not his authority. And he said, what would I do? Smuggle him out. And so he's saying that's not his job. He was asked, well, you could release him into El Salvador and then perhaps something could be done to get him from there. And he said he would not do that because he's siding with the Trump administration that this is a dangerous person. And the Justice Department, then the Attorney General was in that meeting, that White House meeting, and she said that the way that they're viewing this ruling from the Supreme Court that they must facilitate his release, his return to the U.S., is that if El Salvador wanted to release him, then the Trump administration would facilitate that by supplying a plane to fly him home. So, you know, it was this Oval Office meeting. They were all sitting very close to each other, and everyone was kind of pointing at each other and saying, well, I can't do it. I can't do it. But there was no kind of meeting of the minds of the people in there to say, you know, is there some way around this that we could work together to do it? They all kind of were hands off.
Yeah, just put it on each other. I get it. All right, let's go back to these tariffs. Yesterday, we talked about the hikes on pharmaceuticals and semiconductor chips. Now, more leeway is being given by the administration?
Yeah, again, this goes to that sort of uncertainty and the kind of one step back, one step forward way that this tariff rollout has gone in many instances. So President Trump talked about this in that same Oval Office meeting yesterday. He said a new round of tariffs is coming on imported pharmaceuticals and semiconductor chips, and that would drive up likely the costs for computers and for smartphones. But he was asked directly about possible exemptions for Apple products and for, you know, smartphones, iPhones. And President Trump said that he would be flexible, that he's always willing to be flexible, leaving open the possibility of some wiggle room there.
Gotcha.
Chesley.
Alice, thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you again here tomorrow. All right, imagine getting a call from your loved one, terrified, desperate, begging for help. But what if the voice wasn't real? Scammers are now using powerful AI voice cloning apps to steal voices or mimic someone you trust and use them to pull off these convincing scams. Here now to help us get through this terrifying scam is Derek Kravitz. He's the investigative journalist for the Consumer Reports covering digital marketplace. And Derek, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Derek, how scary is this? I mean, to get a call from somebody that you think is a loved one or somebody that you know or trust and being hacked by him, really.
It's scary. I mean, if you're getting a call from someone saying, hey, I need money, I'm a loved one, I'm a friend, I'm someone else in your life, send it to me right away. Your immediate reaction sometimes is yes, I will get you the money as quickly as possible. But the key thing is to calm down, slow down, make sure that who you're talking to is actually who they say they are.
As these apps, these AI apps are getting a little bit more inexpensive, I guess anybody can use them. How powerful are they as far as mimicking your voice? Can you maybe listen and tell that it's not a real person at all?
I had my own voice cloned by one of the leading companies that detects these type of voice clones called Reality Defender. Mm-hmm. It is eerily similar.
Wow.
They're getting better and better. And even in the last 3 years, they've come a very long way in terms of mimicking the cadence of your voice, pauses, those little ums and ahs in between when you're talking. So they are very, very good, and they're very, very believable. And all they need are 3 seconds of voice from a YouTube video or Instagram reel or something like that to do a very convincing deepfake.
Wow. Are they expensive?
No. These are all mostly free apps. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you have to have a premium account, you know, a certain subscription in order to access the better features. But generally speaking, they're very, very cheap or free apps. Open source, and for hackers, you can go ahead and jailbreak them and use kits in order to access all the features.
Wow. Can they mimic emotion as well?
Yeah, increasingly when you actually use a lot of these more sophisticated or newer apps, they can mimic intonation and emotion in a very realistic way. They can seem excited or angry or fearful. And those are things that really register to people when they're listening.
Wow, heartbreaking. Take us through the steps that we need to avoid when the phone rings and we hear a voice on the other end that we think is a real person.
The first thing is to just calm down and slow down, right? Whenever someone asks you for something like money or say login credentials to your bank account or personal info like your social security number, your date of birth, those are all flags, yellow flags or even red flags that you need to take a step and figure out if the person you're talking to is who they say they are. Second thing is, just generally speaking, never give any information to anyone else by phone, email, text that is sensitive, like your password, you say a security code to your bank account, things like that, even if they seem like they are calling from, say, a bank or say a government agency like the IRS. That's a sign that you need to take a step and maybe call them back, right? Go ahead and check out online whether that person is who they say they are. The first thing is always use two-step authentication if you can on your bank accounts. So that means going into your mobile app on your phone and instituting a second-tier security feature so that when you try to log in, they send you a security code, say a 3 or 4-digit code, and you have to insert that on either your phone or by email. And that way, there's an extra layer of security. And usually those type of things help in the long run when people are trying to access your account illegally.
Quickly, you mentioned getting their voice off of Facebook or some type of social media. Can they get it off the phone as well? Like when you talk on the phone, because your phone is recording you, right?
Yep, any source in 3 seconds, so that's not very long. So even a voicemail or, a very quick conversation, those are all really good ways in which bad actors can take your voice and use it for bad means.
Oh, wow. All right, Derek Kravitz with Consumer Reports. Really appreciate that report and warning us of this scam. This is crazy.
Thank you.
All right, thanks a lot. Plenty more stories for you, folks. This is The Take on 11 Live Plus. We're back right after this. Well, earlier this month, several states to our north dealt with unrelenting downpours, swelling rivers to near record levels across the state. The flooding was so bad in Kentucky that a unit from Georgia's Search and Rescue Task Force was sent up there to help people survive and get to safety. Here now, joining us on The Take is Lieutenant Bruce Jones with the Paulding County Fire Rescue. Welcome to the show, Lieutenant Jones.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Talk about being called out of state for service. What's the logistics like for that?
Well, pretty much on April 4th, Georgia Search and Rescue Task Force 6, we received the call to go to Kentucky and aid the citizens there in their time of need with the rising flood waters. So pretty much myself and 5 other amazing Paulding County firemen rendezvoused with the rest of our team, 26 members in total. And from there, we traveled in convoy to Bardstown, Kentucky, along with 12 vehicles, 5 boats, and 3 UTVs, and to aid.
Yeah. How were you guys picked? Are you the closest to that area from there?
No, sir. So actually, majority of us run west to northwest Georgia. And then this was actually our first time as a team to travel out of state for a deployment.
How far can you be sent? I mean, could you go as far as California, or is there a certain area that you kind of stick to?
Well, it depends on the request. Normally, we operate in the state of Georgia. So like I said, this was our first time requested by FEMA to travel.
We saw the pictures, all right? We saw the video up there. How you got a first view of it. How shocked were you when you saw it?
It was the first time I had ever seen anything like that. This was my first big deployment like this. It was devastating. It was heartbreaking to see people's homes in destruction like that. But I tell you, the people of Kentucky are very resilient. It was very heartwarming to see them come together and help us and help each other. So it was great.
I was going to ask you that. They probably were ecstatic to see you come in. I was going to say, how were you guys received?
Met with great generosity. It was like something I'd never seen before. Just open arms. Very grateful.
Was there one moment that amazed you more than another?
There was multiple. I will say there was one gentleman that helped us when we were in Greenville, Kentucky. He had his own little John boat. He was born and raised on the river, and he helped us day in and day out search isolated areas and help bring people to safety. So that was amazing.
Give us some clue of how high that water was. Like if you compare it to houses, was it second level? Was it over the tops of houses?
I'm sorry. Yeah, so it varied in areas. Obviously, closer to the major rivers, there were some areas that were over my head. So it just varied in location. But definitely with some homes, there was water at the ground level all the way up to the roof line.
Wow. And I guess the flooding is still taking place there. Would you be called back, or could you be called back?
I mean, we could be. It just depends on their needs and depends on any kind of incoming weather. There's always that possibility, but I tell you, the local EMA and fire services there, that very well equipped, and they do a great job as well.
Can you give us any takeaways if we ever in a situation like that where our home or where water kind of overtakes the home? What should we do as we wait for you guys to come get us?
So the biggest thing is act early. Don't wait. I know we can be very prideful and we don't want to leave our homes, don't want to leave our property, but listen to the people around you, the authorities giving you advice on what to do. Leave early. Get out early. Don't risk it.
Do you consider yourself a hero?
No, not at all. I'm just, I'm able to do what I love. I'm thankful to be part of such a great organization, representing a wonderful county. I love Paulding County Fire. I love Paulding County and just love the people I work with. So I'm not a hero, just doing what I love to do.
Well, Bruce, you are to us, okay? You're our hero. And
Thank you.
And you're wearing your cape right now. I see it there. Bruce Jones, Paulding County Fire and Rescue, thank you for everything that you do.
Thank you so much.
Us today. All right. Don't go anywhere, folks. I'll be back with my final take right after this. It will be a comfortable day today as temperatures will only be around 70 degrees, close to our average for this time of year, just a little bit below. We'll do it again for tomorrow. Now we're starting off with some clouds, but those clouds will get out of the way by the afternoon. We'll get that sunshine back in here again on Wednesday. And notice our temperatures go up as we head toward the holiday weekend. You're looking at 77 degrees on Thursday. Good Friday, 83 degrees for the high. 86 on Saturday, Easter Sunday, 87, so it borders on hot right there. So make sure you grab that Easter bonnet so it can block you from the sun's rays. We'll see partly sunny skies. Next best chance of rain will be on Monday. All right, time for my final take, and this is from the files of it could have been a whole lot worse. Yeah, the Ohio State Buckeyes made their visit to the White House to celebrate their national championship. And the usual takes place, like the photo with the president. They present him with a jersey with his presidency number on it. Now this year, Vice President Vance decided to join in. He is an Ohio State graduate. And when it came time to pick up that trophy for the photo, look, he fumbled it. Oh my gosh, he dropped it. Yeah, the question is, was it too heavy for him or was it awkward because it was in two pieces? Either way, we need to put a ban on people who touch the trophy that are non-players. It was sitting on a table, we could have left it right there. For some reason, we feel like we need to hoist trophies above our heads. Well, if you didn't play on the field or play on the court, let's just leave it alone, right? No more lifting trophies above our heads, okay? No more. That's all I have for you today, folks. Try to make it a great day and encourage someone today. We'll see you again tomorrow.